Maybe just to clarify, in addition to being an academic like my friend here and a few others on the stage, I'm a pra-academic, and I've been having a 25-year experience and record of experience in advising member states in this beautiful region, in technical assistance projects and other capacity building projects. So I will be speaking on the ground of both academic knowledge and empirical knowledge on postmodern European states and their political administrative reform processes and trends. And I will try to share with you, as a friend of Romania, a few thoughts that I hope can be helpful for the future of this country. First thought, very classic, sorry for that, but we have to go back to the basics. There is no free society and there is no wealthy economy without a strong and efficient state. And when I say that, it's not a statement of mine, it's not a political opinion, it's a well-established scientific observation, substantiated by so many comparative surveys, so many single country monographs, so many researches in the social sciences, history, social history, political science, PA, etc., and of course studies of public policies. So this was said since the very beginning by one of the founding fathers of both sociology and political science, who was Max Weber, of course, that in fact since the beginning of the development of the market economy and the entrepreneurial market economy, capitalist economy in Western Europe since the Renaissance period, it has gone hand in hand with the development of the state, the modern state, as a way to organize political life. So there is nothing of a contradiction. There is nothing of a contradiction between having a wealthy economy and well-developing economy and a solid, robust, resilient state. And I want to make that point strongly from the beginning. There are only the neoliberals and the ultra-liberals of the 1970s, 1990s, such as Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and the like, who have tried to impose a Manichaean opposition between capitalist economy and the state, wrongly claiming that government is not the solution, government is the problem, so as to justify a rollback of the state, cuts in public spendings, privatization, agencyfication of public services, etc. And after 30 years or 40 years of such a medicine which kills the patient, in fact, Western democracies know that this was the wrong treatment. And as far as Central and Eastern European states, post-communist states in that case, are concerned, you in Romania and also the neighbor countries, you know that better than anybody else, because you have experienced in the 1990s how necessary it was to rebuild a state so as to accompany the transition from a socialist to a free economy. So you know from experience here that a great economy does not function without regulations. This was touched upon this morning, without rule of law, without technical norms, without quality controls and quality checks, without a labor law protecting the employees, so without a state, without a justice, without prosecutors, without a tax administration, without a police, etc., what you get quickly is a kind of wildcat capitalism, is a kind of jungle, is a kind of very corrupted economy and society, and also corrupted morally. So the question of ethics is there. And that's why a country like Romania had to redo or restart its state building in the 1990s to qualify itself for joining the EU in 2007. And since then, both the Romanian economy, as it was recalled this morning in several panels, and the Romanian state have evolved so much, and for the common good and public interest of the Romanian people. So as a friendly observer, I want to acknowledge such a successful path. My second thought If the Thatcherites of the 1980s in Western Europe were the time of a rollback of the state, as the Iron Lady used to say, and rollback of the public sector, the recent decade and even the very latest years are undoubtedly the epoch of the comeback of the state, so to speak. I mean that since we have entered into an era of constant and successive crises in the plural, the need for state intervention and protection is greater and greater. Think about the migrants crisis, the Euro-Mediterranean migrant crisis, which is not fixed at all and is not terminated. Think about the COVID-19 crisis and pandemic handling. Think about the war back on our continent and all the related security risks in terms of energy supply crisis, cyber attacks and the like that were touched upon also this morning in a panel. And think about climate change and the great transition to our, the green transition, to save our planet or our capacities to live on that planet. All these major policy issues will never be treated and solved by the globalized capitalism, which has sometimes created some part of these wicked problems. So I'm not saying, of course, that these main collective issues of our time can and will be easily solved by governments and by state regulation and intervention. We are not that naive anymore. But to play with former President Reagan's sayings, at least governments in the plural and the EU member states in the plural, united in their diversity, are key actors, are partners, and even leaders of the solution making to these major policy problems of our times. Therefore, my third point, the quality of government, the institutional capacities of public authorities, the efficacy and efficiency of PAs, and the organizational performance of the public sector at large, the effectiveness of the service delivery to citizens and businesses till the latest kilometer, as French President Macron and the French government say, become political issues of the utmost importance. That's what we have baptized in France since 6 years ago, la transformation publique, public transformation. Of course, skeptics may say that it is nothing more than the latest avatar of administrative reform in France, but I believe that current French transformation publique is more than that, and as such could serve, not as a model, of course, but as a kind of fruitful source of inspiration for the necessary reforms of the Romanian state in the years to come, during the next presidential mandate, so as to propel your country towards the years 2030. Without annoying you with many details that can be shared in smaller audiences, what is essential in the current French transformation publique is the following. For the first time, the leaders of my country, including the president himself and the prime minister, do not consider that administrative reform is a lower subject, is an organizational and HRM issue of little political importance and salience to be addressed by senior bureaucrats, public managers, and experts only. No. Our lucid and young president, with his entourage of advisors, truly are now aware that the transformation of the state and its PA, that the renewal of the ways and means of doing things in the public sector are critical success factors to transform the society and the economy and to succeed in the green transition and the digital and IA transitions, two great transformations, to borrow from Karl Polanyi, of the decades to come. So, in a nutshell, transforming the state and public sector at large is more than ever a major political issue, not a technical one. So, in good logics, administrative reform is thus a dossier for the president in person, not for a junior state secretary anymore. So my fourth and latest idea and my strong plea is the following. State transformation should be a major chapter of the political program and strategy of any serious and far-sighted candidates to the Romanian presidency. I add, as a political science professor and analyst, that from an electoral tactics standpoint, such a non-partisan or transpartisan issue which relates to a subject matter of common public interests, common good for all the citizens and businesses without consideration of their political opinions, is typically a meaningful topic and even a noble one to be raised, then monitored by a president elected by universal suffrage in a semi-presidential regime like the one of Romania or France. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the few thoughts and perspectives I wanted to share with you as a great friend of Romania.